That is illegal for them to do. When you fill out that credit application and they send it off to all the credit unions and all the banks and their preferred lenders, they'll kick back what you're approved for. It isn't contingent on you buying a protection package or an extended warranty. That is never a contingency that a lender will force upon the dealership as they're selling you a vehicle. So many banks nowadays are clamping down. They're clamping down. 1 out of 5 auto loans that were applied for within the United States throughout the last year and a half were actually denied. Go to your local credit union before even walking through the doors of that dealership. Get a pre-approval. If you walk away from that deal, I guarantee it, they'll be picking up the phone and calling you and saying, hey, when can we get you back in? We could do better. We could do a better deal if you come back in today. YouTube Untamed here. The dealership scams and the sleazy tactics continue, even as we see inventory levels shoot to the moon and the demand really diminish across the country right now. In today's video, I'm going to highlight 6 very common, very popular dealership scams that you should be on the lookout for as you go out to buy your next vehicle. So stick with me as we talk through it all. Witnessing an interesting phenomenon take place right now. So many dealerships are holding firm. They're holding firm to their vehicle manufacturer set discounts and interest rates being applied, all while people across the country are just not buying. They're not coming out and buying these vehicles right now because they cannot justify the price tag. So we're kind of in this interesting stalemate, right? Dealerships aren't budging too much on price tags because they think maybe they're hopeful perhaps of a government bailout, or they're hopeful for something like this, a hailstorm to roll through, which will force a hail sale after cashing in on insurance payouts, right? So here we have a Toyota Tacoma. Their hail sale price tag, hopefully you can see, is $41,000. Original MSRP, $51,700. So about $10,000 off. They're either hoping for a government bailout or a hail sale so they can cash in. They already have cashed in on an insurance payout on many of these vehicles here, and now they're just selling it to you at a discounted price, and they're still making plenty of money on these vehicles. Here we have a Toyota GR86. Original MSRP is right at $35,000. The hail sale price tag though is $27,500. Maybe you can't see it there, but I mean, the whole hood, you got the front fenders, hard to repair pieces and components, through the paint here. This is a very expensive thing to fix. All of that damage combined is going to cost a pretty penny. You tell me, is that discount worth it? Dealerships generally have developed a pretty poor reputation over the years because of their slimy, sleazy, greedy tactics, right? That's nothing new. That's nothing new right now, nothing new throughout the last few years here. They're always trying to get you in to the dealership. Hey, when can you swing by? When can you come in? They're always asking you that because they want to get your butt in their seat so they can start really wearing at you, right? Let me go talk to my manager. Let me go back and forth. This huge debate that takes place in there, and they wear you out. They get you exhausted and get you to the point where you finally sign on the dotted line. What would you like your monthly payment to be? Never answer that question. We talk about it plenty in the channel. By you giving them how much you want to make your monthly payment, well, they can still finagle the numbers, still sneak in their protection packages, sneak in their extended warranties, sneak in all this stuff into the price tag, all while extending that loan term duration just to make that monthly payment small enough to where you want to sign on the dotted line. But if you look at the final sale figure, final sale price, you're going to be wildly disappointed. So with that said, I always make it a point, always negotiate the out the door figure with all the additional fees, sales tax, all the figures included. Negotiate that figure with their doc fee, blah, 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 whatever it is. What is that final price tag that you're going to be paying for the vehicle? Never negotiate a monthly payment. Now, with that advice out of the way, let's get into it. Number one, I'm gonna get the most obvious one out of the way, but we are still seeing dealerships deploy markups, ADMs, additional dealer markups or addendums over a sticker price on some vehicles. Obviously, it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to actually get away with it because so many banks nowadays are clamping down. They're clamping down. 1 out of 5 auto loans that were applied for within the United States throughout the last year and a half were actually denied. And that is a pretty stark increase over about 12 to 14% in the previous 2 years prior to that. So we're seeing banks kind of clamp down a little bit more, as they should. They shouldn't be issuing loans out like candy, but that really hinders a dealership's ability to hike up the price tag well more than what the vehicle is actually worth. So markups, still be on the lookout for it. We're seeing on vehicles like the Raptor R still $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 over sticker. Do not fall victim to that. Brings us to our number 2 here, which piggybacks on markups. Dealerships can't really get away with doing markups so easily anymore. They can't just apply a blatant $5,000 or $10,000 uptick in the price tag and get away with it. But instead, they've gotten a little bit creative. They now will sneak in their bogus protection packages onto all their vehicles. They'll maybe call it the smart protection package. All vehicles come with this, non-negotiable. It's always $3,000. That is just a clever, sneaky way for them to sneak in their markup. That's essentially what it is. It's a package with a couple little things included, but they're all hugely inflated in price. So you're paying this enormous price tag for really not a whole lot of substance. So be on the lookout for that. The added protection packages that they say are mandatory. Just know that they are absolutely not mandatory, and if they're gonna make it mandatory, walk away. Walk up the road to the next dealership, because well, there's plenty of other vehicles out there, plenty of other fish in the sea. Dealerships were able to get away with the markups during the pandemic because supply was low, right? And demand was high. The chip shortage, supply constraints, blah, 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 you name it, we all lived through it. They were able to get away with it. If you didn't buy it, well, the next guy or gal in line would come and buy it. So they treated you like a number, they treated you like another brick in the wall. They do not have that luxury today. And right now, well, many dealerships are kicking themselves for being so greedy throughout the last 3 to 5 years, throughout the pandemic, right? Because right now, they need their loyal returning customers more than ever. And well, they're nowhere to be found. To today's video sponsor, that is Last Fit Lighting. Today I'm pretty excited. I'll be installing these LS Plus LED bulbs into our 2020 Chevy Suburban behind me, as well as some T3 blinkers for us. So I'm excited to showcase that to you guys. I've been very pleased with my Last Fit floor liners that I put into my Ford F-150 Raptor a few weeks ago. So today I'm excited to put these on, try them out, and compare them to the stock standard halogen bulbs that are in my Suburban. So stick with me. I just wrapped up putting in both the high beams as well as the front turn signals here in the Chevy Suburban, and it looks so much better. The LS Plus 9005 high beam bulbs that I put in are so much brighter. We're talking about 7 times brighter than your typical halogen bulb, with them having about 65 watts of power per bulb. So you can definitely tell as we have the high beams on. I'll put some side-by-side B-roll up here to show you what it looked like before with the halogen bulb and now with these awesome Last Fit bulbs in there. When it comes to the turn signals here, the OEM ones that I had on it before were so dim. I mean, I would never even see them reflecting off of street signs at nighttime when we're driving around. And with this being my wife's primary vehicle while she's driving around our 5 kiddos, I personally have so much better peace of mind knowing that they're going to be seen. It's just a safer setup overall. So super happy with just how easy it was to install. Under 45 minutes for all of it, all put together, a plug and play situation. And not to mention, Last Fit does offer a 2-year hassle-free warranty. So if you bump into any quality issues with these, you can just reach out to Last Fit and they're going to take care of you and make sure that you get a replacement. So I appreciate the fact that they stand behind their product, and that's why I don't mind advertising for them on my channel here, because I personally believe in their product and I've always been very impressed with it overall, to include their floor liners that I put in the Raptor. Brightness of these T3 bulbs really stems from the 20 SMD LED chips integrated within it. Each T3 bulb packs 20 high-powered 3030 SMD LEDs that delivers up to 2,000 lumens per bulb. And with a 24-watt output, it provides that maximum visibility for safer lane changes and just driving safely at night. The Last Fit floor liners that I put in the Raptor, these Last Fit LED bulbs arrived in the mail within a matter of days. So very quick shipping, and the packaging of the product, second to none. I think you're going to be very pleased with the product overall. Not to mention, customer service with Last Fit has always been exceptional in my experience, and everybody I know who's gone through them has been very pleased with it. So if you do end up buying something from them, please consider using my affiliate link in the video description below. It tells them that you're watching my videos and you appreciate this type of content. But in addition to that, right below that affiliate link, you'll see the 20% off discount code being offered through the month of August here site-wide. So be sure to use that as you're checking out. Moving to number 3, and that is the whole gimmick behind the whole certified used or gold certified used vehicles. To me, in my opinion, after having negotiated a number of deals and worked a number of deals for new and used vehicles, I can tell you that that whole certified used gimmick is exactly that. It's just a gimmick. It's a gimmick for the dealership to maybe run it through an additional multi-point inspection, right? Maybe change the oil on it, give you another couple months on your extended warranty, only to charge you an arm and a leg for it. If you're to buy an extended warranty either through the manufacturer or through a third party, you'd be saving tremendously. So they hike up the price tag substantially, call it a certified used or gold certified, then magically you're spending $5,000 more than what you should be. For a sleazy tactic to be on the lookout for, or a scam, would be a lot of dealerships today will try to trick you into buying an extended warranty or buying a larger protection package on your vehicle in order to get a lesser interest rate on your vehicle purchase. That is illegal for them to do. When you fill out that credit application and they send it off to all the credit unions and all the banks and their preferred lenders, they'll kick back what you're approved for. It isn't contingent on you buying a protection package or an extended warranty. That is never a contingency that a lender will force upon the dealership as they're selling you a vehicle. So just know that. What they're doing is And this is legal for dealers to do. They'll get a buy rate, your approved rate from a credit union or whoever they farmed out your information to. That's the buy rate. So pretend it's 4%, right? And then they can sell you that vehicle still at a 5%. They might uptick it 1%, and now you're paying a 5% interest rate on your Ford F-150 or whatever it is, right? That's the sell rate. They can do that. And we see that all the time. So I always encourage folks to do two things. One, ask what the buy rate is. When they come back to you and say, hey, it's 5%, say, well, what's the buy rate for you guys? And then hopefully, if they're honest, they'll tell you it's 4%. They can't force you to buy a protection package or an extended warranty to drop it back down to 4%. They can't do that, right? So always ask them what their buy rate is. And the second thing I encourage folks to do in order to combat this is go to your local credit union before even walking through the doors of that dealership. Get a pre-approval from your local credit union. And likely it will be better than what that dealership is going to offer you. So kind of come with that in hand and say, well, I have a pre-approval at 3.5% from my local credit union. Are you at least willing to sell me at the sell rate or your buy rate, excuse me? And then hopefully, they'll give it to you at 4%. Moving to number 5 on my list. This one here, we're seeing less and less of it as we've gotten further away from the pandemic, but especially throughout the last 3 to 4 or 5 years, we have seen so many dealerships let their sales reps or their service reps borrow a car, essentially, right? They'll technically sell it to one of their sales reps at the dealership, let them drive it around for maybe a couple months, if that, put maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles on it, and then sell it back to the dealership. And now, technically, that vehicle that they were driving around for a bit is a used vehicle. Now they can offer it for sale as a used vehicle comparatively to new, of course. You may be asking yourself, what's the benefit of them doing that? A couple of things. Number one, when they sell used vehicle inventory, they get a higher interest rate. They have to farm it out to the preferred lenders, and they get higher interest rates, which allows for a little bit of a higher kickback from that preferred lender. So they'll get a little bit of money back from the financial institution when they secure that loan, right? So with the used vehicle, they get a little bit of a higher return on that sale for financing it, okay? So that's number one. And number two, a lot of dealerships would often pride themselves in saying, hey, we're a no markup dealer. We don't sell any new vehicles with a markup. A lot of dealerships would pride themselves. They had banners made for it, but what they did to circumnavigate it was they would do just that. Let one of their sales reps drive it around for a little bit, or their sales manager drive it for a little bit, sell it back to the dealership, and then magically that 4Runner TRD Pro is not being sold new with the markup, it's selling used at market value. So they brought in that 4Runner TRD Pro and then put the $10,000 markup on it when it just had 1,000 miles on it. So a sleazy tactic, and well, that was quite commonplace, especially up in Canada where it is illegal for dealerships to sell new vehicle inventory with markups. So they would farm them out, get some miles on it, and sell them used with a markup. Before I talk through perhaps the most sleazy tactic to be on the lookout for from dealers, I want to include this piece of advice. I often will see so many people get married to buying a certain vehicle from a certain dealership as if that vehicle doesn't exist anywhere else. Well, if I don't capitalize on this deal today, I'm going to lose it. I'll never be able to get it. That frame of thinking has really made so many people overpay for their vehicles. So the piece of advice I like to plug in a lot of my videos, because I do believe it's most important, is your ability to walk away can save you thousands of dollars. And I mean it. I've seen it so many times. I've experienced it so many times where you negotiate a deal, you're at a dealership and you got to a really good point where you actually feel okay about the sales figures. But if you walk away, tell them, hey, I'm going to think on it or maybe look elsewhere. If you walk away from that deal, I guarantee it, they'll be picking up the phone and calling you and saying, hey, when can we get you back in? We could do better. We could do a better deal if you come back in today. If you come in tomorrow, we'll make a better deal happen. So do not be afraid to walk away. Don't get so married to that deal. And heaven forbid, what if they do sell it after you walk away? That's okay. You still probably have the write-up of it. Take it to the next dealership and say, hey, here's the best deal that I was able to get in writing. Are you able to beat it? If you ask them to beat it, 9 times out of 10, they will. They want to earn your business, and especially right now because, well, not a whole lot of people are walking their lots trying to buy inventory. Brings us to our final point in this video. I've only bumped into this personally only one time, but I have read that it is seemingly becoming more and more prevalent and more popular for dealerships to do this. It is when you're going to go buy a vehicle for cash. You're going to go buy a vehicle outright, not finance it, but the dealership is still demanding that you fill out a credit application for it. So that right there is a huge red flag in my opinion. They say it is to satisfy the Office of Foreign Asset Controller, OFAC, anti-money laundering regulations and requirements. But even a lot of people, as I read online, as they change their mind on a deal because they're trying to run their credit, even though they're paying cash, and they change their mind, more often than not, the sales manager will waive that requirement, not run their credit after all, and still sell them the vehicle. But just be on the lookout for this. So many dealerships are trying to deploy that tactic. They're still trying to run your credit so they can have all your information and farm it out to financial institutions and lenders and still perhaps get a kickback. There has to be a reason for it because it is becoming much more prevalent. It isn't just for anti-money laundering. It's just too much. In my personal opinion, if a dealership ever tried to do that with me, as they did once before, I said, no, thank you, I'm not gonna do it. And well, again, they quickly waived that requirement. So don't allow them to pull that nonsense on you. Go to a different dealership, leave them a 1-star review, and then walk on to the next one. Don't get me wrong, of course, you're providing proof of your identity the entire time when you're buying a vehicle, cash or financing. Provide them with your driver's license, but leave it at that. They don't need to give them your social security number and let them run your credit. That is ridiculous. Not to mention you're gonna get a hard credit pull that will adversely impact your credit score. So do not allow them to do that. For me, I find it quite refreshing that people have caught on. They've caught on to these greedy, sleazy tactics being deployed by dealerships, and well, they're not returning. They're leaving them a 1-star review, and they're not coming back to these dealerships that were clearly trying to pull the wool over their eyes. So I like seeing that, and I like seeing people vote with their pocketbooks now and not fall victim to it again. Guys, just know that it is absolutely a buyer's market. Do not let your local dealership convince you otherwise. Supply has far exceeded demand, and that's going to continue to be the case as we teeter deeper into 2025 and into 2026 here. So just know that you are in the driver's seat. Do not let them bully you around or pull you one direction over the other. So go in there, have a price tag in mind, within reason, of course, and an incentivized interest rate. Expect both, that great discount and an incentivized interest rate right now. Now, the beauty of the current state of the car market is, if this dealership here doesn't want to negotiate with you or play ball and get you anywhere close to where you want to be, walk out the door, drive 20 minutes up the road to the next dealership. Somebody is bound to play ball with you. That is assuming they want to stay afloat and stay in business. There, guys, as always, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune into these videos. If you appreciate this type of content whatsoever, I do respectfully request that you please consider liking and subscribing. I always feel ugly asking it, but it certainly helps the channel and it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. Till next time.